All right, guys. So I got the mic working, got everything working. Been a little while since you've seen me. Uh, I got sick, got the flu, whatever. Got really busy at work, so I haven't done any episodes in a little while. In the process, though, I took that opportunity to go ahead and order a couple of things I've wanted to do. So let's catch you guys up on what I've done since you last saw, since I last did an episode. New hand torch. This is the old one. They look super similar. If you don't really know what you're looking at, this thing here had horrible flames. I couldn't keep the flames down low uh, if I wanted to get the gas out of them, and up the oxygen amount. They'd blow themselves out. Trying to lean the flame out a little bit to do leaded glass. Not a problem with the new guy, right? I did a couple of things also with the hand torch. This was how we were getting the gas and the air mixed together. Air was coming in this way, gas was coming in this way, and it was just a Y going to the hand torch. I've gotten rid of that, and when I got this hand torch from AGF, I got the mixer along with it. Flame looks pretty stable. It's a clean flame. Man, that's a clean flame. I recommend a hand torch if y'all need hand torches. These guys, you remember these guys? These are my crossfires. I went ahead and replaced them. I figured there was a lot of guys doing cannon fires or knife fires, and it's essentially what this was. Just a really rudimentary one, right? And I could weld like crazy with the hand torch, as long as it was leaded or unleaded glass, because the leaded would blacken on me. And I figured I was early enough in my learning of neon and bending that if I was going to make that change, I needed to do it now. With these crossfires, I was going to have to replace every one of the tips, and the cost was a little higher than I had or could justify. That would have been 10 tips, and a mixer, and it would have had been a larger mixer. I went with the cannon fire. I went with knife fire, 7-hole knife fire. A lot of people I'm watching and learning from are using cannon fire and knife fire. Now, a lot of people are still using these too. But I had a problem with these. I thought this would be hotter, and it probably would have been if I'd replaced all the tips and got the Venturi mixer and all that. But I couldn't heat up enough glass to like do double backs, and even some right angles and drop turns and rises. It was hard to do, and it was sloppy. I don't know. Maybe it's all in here. I really need to get with some guys that are here in Oklahoma, North Texas, and just hang out with them for a couple hours while they're bending, so I can watch. Either way, out with the old, in with the new. So that's that. What do you do when you're sick and you don't have a lot of time? Well, sick and still going to work. Except for one day, I did call out of work one day. I don't ever call into work. So that apparently flu is getting people right now. Anyway, so Mark Snyder, a few other guys on some of the forums that I'm on. Mark Snyder, super knowledgeable guy, owns SVP Neon. If I can ever get to where I can afford some stuff, I'm going to buy more stuff from the guy. He's kind of the guy that knows a lot and the proper way of doing it. Do we all do it the way that he wants us to? Probably not, because One, like me, I can't afford to right now, but those are goals, right? Because one thing I've done while I was sick is I read. Um, I finally found all these books that Mark and everybody were recommending. I couldn't find them for anything, and if I could find them, I was finding them, and people were wanting like $200 for a book. I found them, and I know it's not giving any money to the author or anything like that, but I found them online. Uh, Somebody took time to scan them all in. Great, fantastic, love it. I recommend these books to everybody. I don't remember the names of them right now. I can throw them up here real quick when I do my post editing. Uh, Fantastic books. Reading things that maybe I didn't know before. I thought I knew. There's a couple things that are a little odd. I remember one paragraph in particular where the bombarding instructions were, they assume at some point that you know what they're saying, and those are kind of hard to follow. You just kind of figure it out. So there's a couple of them where they didn't go into enough detail if maybe you didn't have an Elmer, somebody you're looking up to that you're learning off of. So that's not that big a deal. Anyway, so we're on the knife fire. This was the crossfire mixer. It was just literally a T. Air coming in here, gas coming in here. Did it work? Part of the reason I did this change is I'm tired of fighting the flame. So I've got Venturi mixer on my hand torch. I got Venturi mixer on my crossfire 7-point knife fire system. I've got a blow off valve on my air pump. When I first did this, my blower motor, we didn't have any of that. So my uncle, when this was all his stuff, used the ribbon burner to meter the flow going to the rest of the torches. Guess what? Doesn't work. So I've got that. I'm actually down. This is something else that Mark told me to do, put a meter on it, a PSI gauge to see what you're doing. My torches right now are running the best. My torches are running the best. And I'm running at, like, according to my gauge, 1 pound of pressure of air. 1 pound. Everything, the torches look good. They're not blackening. They're pretty stable. I backed that down earlier today. I was at like 2, but when I moved over to the crossfire, the 7-point knife fire, that actually, the torches acted like there was too much velocity coming out. So they were like, the flame was blowing out so hard that it was disrupting this side. So I backed off that pressure relief, and they really cleaned that flame up tremendously. So the cannon fire, I don't know if it's a cannon fire. Cannon fire to me is like you have a bullet of flame, of cannon of flame. So this is it's a knife fire, but I've seen people reference them as cannon fire as well, but it's a knife fire. But it works great. If you can afford it, buy the stand and the arms and everything that's adjustable from AGF. I did not. So basically all I did was went and bought some 1/8-inch MPT piping and connectors and adapters and things like that, and built my own off of what I already had. Couldn't afford all of it. Yeah, so I got a new flask of argon. You see my flasks over here. Those are the 0.9 liters. They don't make them anymore. I've got 2.5 liter flasks now, I've got to figure out how to make that work on this system. I know I'm low on argon, and maybe I'm wrong, whatever. But so when I'm metering my neon, pull that first valve, open my stopcock, it comes in there, quite quickly, and a little bit, quite a bit, a few inches of mercury go right at, I think that's what it is. Somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong. But when I do the argon and I meter just the same way, I'm not getting a whole lot per. So I feel like I'm losing pressure. I'm right there at the end of my argon flask. So I got another one. They're cheap. It was $34, I think. After I filled a few mercury tubes with argon, I've also learned that maybe we're in wintertime here in Oklahoma. Maybe I should have done the 75-25. So 75 argon, 25 neon to warm the tube up to get that mercury to vaporize. It gets cold, and we're Oklahoma, so it's not like super cold all the time, but every winter, we get below 30 degrees often, especially at night. What are the ill effects to running 75-25 in the summer, though? Right? So if it's not going to be a problem, then why not run 75-25 and get some more heat in there so that your tubes are at their correct brightness when you turn them on and get them going. Right now, excuse me, in my garage, the argon tubes, the mercury tubes, when it's cold in here, they're dark, and you can tell they're dark. But as soon as you light them up, give them about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they brighten up and they get where they should. I don't know. Give me some input. Any of you guys have any idea? I follow Bent Customs. Corey Shearer, I think is his name. I probably butchered it. I think it's Toledo, Ohio. Dude is crazy. The Mustang's awesome. That's coming together. I think I like it better than the Jeep so far. But he just does things, and I follow him, and I kind of watch, and he's just kind of odd. And I'm thinking that if you're a neon guy, you're kind of odd. But he did something with some tube, and he just welded. He did like 32 welds. Bro, I ain't that good. But I'm just learning how to do this, right? I've just started this thing in October. It's just now it's almost February now. So I'm wanting to learn how to do it and do it right. So when I got bored out here today because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do and I didn't want to start a new project or anything like that, I just took some 12 mil glass and just started cutting it, welding it, cutting and welding, and they look pretty good. I did some leaded glass on the new Crossfire torch because I wanted to see if it would discolor my glass. Those are all welds. It looks okay. I didn't clean the powder out when I did it. I was just trying to see if I was going to get discolored glass. So none of those welds, I wouldn't put any of those in production. Does that make sense? So the 7-hole Crossfire knife fire, I'm stoked. I like it. I made a K. This one I did not light up because this one's garbage. I will show you this one. It's a project I'm working on. It's burning in right now. It actually burned in really funky. It looks good right now. The camera here, it doesn't look that good. But in person, it's the correct color. But when I first put it on the burn-in transformer, I call it a burn-in transformer. It's only a 30 milliamp. So I'm looking for a 60 if any of y'all know where I can get them at a reasonable price or whatever. It was pink. It's the first neon tube I put together and I processed that came out pink as soon as I put gas in it. So I flushed it, tried it again, still it was pink. Now, when I put it on the transformer and lit it up over here, it didn't take, I've heard people say 24 hours or whatever to get it the right color. No, it was 10 minutes, but it was pink. I didn't like that. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with my bombarding. I still don't have a milliamp meter, so I'm just kind of winging it. That's my first real letter. Like, I've done an A. I'm not going to call that an A. I've done a Z. Not going to call that a good Z. This is my first outline letter that I've ever done. I kind of liked it. It was a little easier for me because we didn't have the rises and the drops, and the drop turns. I really need to learn how to do those better. I'm either not heating up enough glass, or then I overcompensate and I heat up too much glass, whatever. But yeah, that's it. That's where I'm at. That's why you guys haven't seen an episode in a while. I was sick. Not just sick, but we had a big project at work. As some of you know, I work at a television station here in town. I had to put this stuff on the back burner while I took care of my primary income. That's always going to be more important than this, as it's a hobby right now. I need a vacuum pump. If any of you guys have recommendations on vacuum pumps, good ones, they can get me, that are comparable to like a 1402 Welch. I need one. And while I don't want to buy used, I'm going to have to get one at a steal of a price. I'm probably going to sell some of these old beer signs I've got to try to get some money together to get a vacuum pump. Vacuum pump is next on my list. Right there, milliamp meter / vacuum pump. They really kind of need to happen, both of them. Once I get both of those done, then I can focus solely on lighting tubes up. I don't need really anything else. I'm going to work with my old Townsend manifold for a while. My uncle used it for 20 years. Other people are using them for 40 years. I'm going to take it apart and I'm going to clean it. And I'm not going to process any mercury tubes. Reprocess. So if I have to fix a mercury, sign or glass or whatever, if it's had mercury in it, I'm just going to rebuild it. I got to get to the point where I can just rebuild it. But I don't even want to mess with mercury that way, reprocessing. We'll have another episode at some point and maybe watch me bend a letter. I'm doing a project for a guy I know. He's over in Altus, Oklahoma. That's what that K is for, actually. Now, that K is small. It's not the right one. It's not the one for him. KWHW, it's a radio station over there. I just wanted to see if I could bend those bends for that type of lettering. Patterns, right? Remember I told you I found all the books that I need? Well, I found patterns in those books, y'all. Dean Blazik, his books. I got all of them. And that's where that pattern came from. I'm hoping to put a projector up here on the ceiling that's going to aim down at my pattern table so I can pull these up on a computer and then trace them on the pattern table. Because right now, these pieces of paper aren't big enough. I can't make a big enough letter for anything other than that. So, again, looking for a vacuum pump. And I'm going to get a milliamp meter. I already know I want to buy one of those, and I'm going to probably get that one for Mark. I just got to put some money together that doesn't go to bills and everything else in life. Anyway, cool. We'll see you guys for episode 9-ish. I think this is 8.